Hey guys, so I bought the X Series Jackson V CDX 22, and it's a 22 fret version of the Jackson Rhodes V. And anyway, it's been damaged. It's a brand new instrument, and the top wing has a segment broken off, and the bottom wing has a little chip knocked out of it. But anyway, so I downloaded an image. I originally was going to try to make a template using my RR1, but the body style is probably not going to be exact between the U.S. factory in Fort Worth, Texas in 1991 compared to the Indonesian factory here in 2023 or 2022. I was able to snag some photos of the body, and although they're slightly skewed, I thought they're close enough that I could show some people how to use Rhino3D to draw a 2D set of curves that you can export as DXF files, and you can use those files as an import in VCarve for your vectors. And anyway, all I've done so far, I started a new Rhino project, and we have the default layer. I'm going to rename this layer picture layer because we're going to be importing a picture, and we're going to draw a reference line in it that needs to be visible. So we'll make that layer blue, and this third layer we'll just call it curves. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do is we want to make sure the current layer is the picture layer. We're going to use the picture command so that we can bring this picture in, and this is a JPEG. Now I have this image that is slightly skewed, not terribly, and I found some other images, but all of them are at least slightly skewed. And anyway, I thought, well, this one would be close enough to do what I'm needing to do, which is to create a template where I can make a repair on the top wing. So I'm going to double click on top. I'm going to click up here, and I'm going to drag this picture in. And I'm not going to worry too much about the size as I import it. Before I started the video, I took a couple of measurements, and the beauty of using this technique, we have a photo that contains areas that we can take real life measurements off of the instrument. And this binding, the width of this binding on my instrument is approximately 56.2 millimeters. So I'm going to zoom in on this where I can get it as close as I can. And by the way, we're going to make this picture. In fact, let's see if it may help if we make it a little transparent now. Maybe not, but actually I'm not sure that helps any for this part. Maybe. Yeah, maybe it helps a little bit. Okay, so let's make it, go ahead and make it transparent, or somewhat transparent. And then now we have these two reference points here and here. All right, so we'll go back to layers. We zoom in, and we're going to draw just a standard polyline. And we're going to click in this area, and then make sure that your ortho is on down here. And then now we're going to go over and type in 56.2, I believe will be close enough for the dimension. So now let's highlight our picture and let's type in scale. And now we're going to zoom in. I'm using my center mouse button. We're going to zoom in and we're going to click on this segment here that is aligned as closely as I can get it with the binding. And then we're going to go over here to about where the other edge of the binding would be, and we're going to click on that. Okay, and now we're going to pull this out until we snap to that end. And now what we have is we have a segment, or we have an image that is scaled very closely to what the real instrument is now. And so what this is going to enable me to do, and you can look at this shadow and you can see the picture is somewhat skewed top to bottom, not terribly. It is skewed side to side, and that's why you see these two shadows here. This segment here, that contour, actually starts up in here somewhere on the instrument, but this will be close enough for what we're trying to do. So, okay, so now that we have the drawing scaled, okay, go over to your curves, make sure that your curve layer is selected, and lock the picture layer. If you don't, you're really continuously going to be irritated, because every time you go to draw these curves, you're going to be asked if you want to select the if you want to select and edit the picture. So we want to draw polylines first, and we're going to draw the first one down here onto this segment, and then we're going to draw another polyline, and we're going to try to get this polyline as close as we can to this 17th fret and where we are touching the binding, and that's pretty close. And make sure your ortho is on, and that is, I think that's pretty close. And but that measurement is 54.7. So if we type in 54.7, let's see where that'll put us. Okay, right there. Okay. All right, so we want to draw this little box here because we want to make sure that we've got the pickup pocket, and I'm going to highlight all that. You should watch my other Rhino video. I go a little bit more in depth with some of these commands, but if you drag from left to right, if you don't already know this, in Rhino you will only select objects that are completely covered by that window that's created when you drag. And I'm going to hit join. And if you drag from right to left, anything it touches, it will highlight. It will select. So like, see how this, I joined this, and this is all one closed curve now. So if I go from left to right, it won't select it unless I highlight the whole thing. But if I go left to right and just touch it, it highlights it, selects it. Okay, so now we're going to go in here and we're going to place all these 3-point control curves. And if it wasn't selected for you, it is this control point curve here. All right, now what we're going to do, we're going to turn ortho off, leave planar on, and O snap. And what we're going to do is we're going to draw a series of these little 3-point curves. We're going to start here. We're going to draw one in about where we think the middle of that radius would be, and then about the end of where we think that radius would be. And then we're going to hit right click on our mouse, and then we're going to hit enter, because in Rhino, the last command that was executed, if you hit enter again, that command will be repeated. And we're going to left click here, left click, right click. Don't worry about how close you get for now. And by the way, that was my enter button. Okay. And then we've got it's probably just one radius, but it's really hard to tell with this drawing, so I'm going to make sure that I treat this like there are two radii here. Left, 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 right, enter, and I don't know about here, so we'll draw two here. And to me that looks like there's a different radius here. So we're going to pretend like there's one here even if there's not. And we're going to make this symmetrical. And again, just to, the reason I have the O snap on so that it will snap to that end, because we need for these to be connected. We're going to have to join these here in a moment. You'll see why. This segment here, we are actually going to replace this segment because we are going to we're going to make it symmetrical by copying the top. This image, either the camera was not completely parallel, or the camera was parallel to the table or floor or whatever it's photographed on, and the actual guitar was skewed, but this image is skewed. Okay. Well, anyway, that's not important. We have all of these curves here now. So let's highlight all of this and type in join. There is that's a join, the join command too. And this is, oh, okay. Here's why it's telling me I have an open curve. I need to draw one more of these lines from here to here. Then I'm going to highlight this and hit shift, and I'm going to select the curve that's not already joined. And now if you look, it says that our two curves are joined into one closed curve. All right, now we're going to go around now, and we're going to smooth all this stuff out by using these control point handles, and by shifting our endpoints for our curves. And since our photo is locked, the photo layer is locked, that is going to make it a little bit less frustrating, because we're not going to have to continuously tell the software what we're trying to move. So if you keep getting the message every time that you go to highlight something, you're getting the message that pops up, and you have to select like this. If you keep having to do this, if you hit that lock button, you won't have to keep telling the software what you're trying to do, because it won't even allow you to select. It won't allow you to select that in the first place. And I mean, you don't want to move it. Why would you? You don't want to move your photo at this point. And that's smoothed out pretty good. And okay, let's jump around a little bit. And it may take you a few minutes, especially if you don't have a whole lot of practice in doing this. I have a little bit. I don't do this often. I love Rhino, but sadly I don't get to use it enough to be extremely proficient with it. Probably will be before too long, because our shop will be up and running before too long, and when it's up and running, while our machines are working, we'll be doing design work. Of course, I mean, we'll be working on machine designs too, which means that we won't have a whole lot of time to be just using software just to play. But anyway, I like the software. Hey, drop a comment if you're a Rhino user, and tell me what you think, or if you used to use Rhino and you use something different now. I don't use Rhino for everything, and neither does Scott. Scott is using, he uses a lot of modeling software, but he's working with SolidWorks right now. I'm about to start using that too. I like some of the functions that you have there that where you can actually simulate, and so that's really important for what we're doing. We're going to be building equipment. In fact, we're already designing equipment, so everything that I've done in another package, I really need to get prepared for using SolidWorks. Let's see, did I do? Yeah, I did 3. So this point needs to be up here, and this one needs to be here. And see, like I said, you can drag this stuff around, so don't worry about too much. Don't worry about it too much when you first get started with the placement. The main thing is that get you some practice, because if you do plan on doing anything like this, you can take a picture of one of your favorite instruments, especially if you have something like I have some instruments that aren't made anymore. So you can make repair parts, or even make a copy of the instrument. But anyway, all right, now I'm going to show you just in these few moments that we've been messing around with this. We're still not finished smoothing it out, but say that little light bulb, I'm going to turn that off, and you see what you have now. I mean, it's not completely smooth yet, but it's actually looking pretty good. And this area here, if you're wondering why I'm not terribly concerned with it just yet, we're gonna copy this other area. Now let me turn the picture back on and see if I can't clean this up a little bit. Let's see. I think this needs to come down here, and yeah, this needs to come down here. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And this needs to probably come down here. I may need to add, let me see. Yeah, let me see, I might need to, actually that cleaned it up pretty nicely. And it's not going to be exact anyway, because the picture that we're using is, it's not terrible, but it's slightly skewed. And that's why we're going to mirror that other side. It's the only way I know of to correct that situation where you have the skewed image, and you still need your instrument or whatever you're doing. You don't, I mean, I know you don't, everybody's not using Rhino just to do guitars. I get it. There are people out there that are using it for other things, but actually, let's see, that, well, that pretty good. I don't know. Let's see if I can smooth that. I think that smoothed it out pretty good. You know, keep in mind all this stuff I'm zooming in to see. I mean, that's things that you'd never notice on the instrument. I mean, especially after you sand it and everything. Yeah, I mean, when you do this kind of thing, it would be near impossible for another human to come in and say, "Oh, you know what? That's not the same instrument." You know, and again, I'm not doing this I'm not doing this with intentions of trying to copy anybody's design or anything. I have my own designs, and I wouldn't even be building guitars if I didn't want to do my own original designs. I just happened to get a deal on this instrument, and I thought it would make a really cool repair video, and maybe help get some people up to speed with some of the software that we use, and well, also not just getting you up to speed with software we use, but showing you what we do, and you know, just letting you see just some new processes if you haven't seen this before. I think it's pretty cool. I don't remember when it was that I saw this done first, but I thought it was really cool when I saw that you could trace these images, and now I'm going to be using this to create a 2D toolpath. But when I'm finished with this, we could very easily, within just a few minutes, draw a 3D guitar out of this image. I just don't have a reason to do it. Let's see. That's from a skewed photo. That's why you're seeing all this. I'll tell you what, let me open the picture. Let me unlock the picture, and let's select the picture and go to material, and let's make it less transparent. Let's make it 10% and see what we see. Maybe actually harder to follow, but you see there, this is the edge of the instrument, and there's where we're seeing the light reflect off the back end of it, and that's why we see that. So it's really probably more urgent if we're trying to make it an accurate copy or depiction. Like, say that's probably closer to the edge, and yeah, I think that's closer. And then this portion here, that contour doesn't even start until down here somewhere. So this is the edge of the instrument. We're seeing this edge, and we shouldn't be. But I think that doing what we're doing here, I think this is going to get us close enough. Let's see. Let's leave the image like this, and go back to our layers and lock the image again, and see if that might help us tweak this a little bit closer. See, that's definitely the edge there, and here it looks like this is skewed a little bit. That looks pretty good there. And now that everything's locked, I'm going to turn the hose snap off, because I'm not needing to snap to an object anywhere. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but I definitely don't need to be snapping to an object now, because everything's joined together. And I just need to smooth my segments out. I may have to add actually, that is probably pretty close there. Well, no, I think this is sticking out a little bit too far. I think that looks pretty good. And then down here, I think that looks pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good. Okay. I think that was the biggest thing that we needed help with. And now, if we turn that off, our image looks actually pretty good. You can't see the points unless you zoom way in. So I think that's pretty good. Okay, so now, now what we're going to do is we're going to highlight this, and we're going to hit explode. And then we're going to turn around and copy that. And hold down shift and copy that. And then join this. Okay, so now we're going to take this whole segment right here that we just joined. We're going to go hit copy. When it asks us the point to copy from, we're going to turn our O-snap on and our ortho. And we're going to click on that endpoint. And then we're going to go over here and we're going to paste it on that endpoint. And then right click. Then we're going to select the whole thing again and go transform, mirror. Okay. And where it says copy yes, we're going to say copy no. And then we're going to go from here, and with ortho on, it's going to automatically place it perpendicular, or not perpendicular, but symmetrical. All right, so now what this did for us is this area that we already knew, like turning the picture on, so we already knew that was off. We knew that, but look how close we are now, right? Still not perfect, but we are very close, right? On the real instrument, about in here is where this starts. So we're very close. And then now we can go down to here. We can turn the picture back off, and we can take these segments and we can join these back together. And we can use the move command, and we can move these over to here. Right, now let's turn our picture back on. Now see, we know this is skewed, so we know we're not looking at we're looking at the image like the edge of the image. And I'll be honest with you, in my opinion, I'm going to say that we move this up a little bit. We're going to say here, take this, move. I say we take this, we move it up a little bit here. We move it in a little bit more here. And I'm going to say that if we do this and take that curve and place it there, I think that's going to be close enough, in my opinion, because our image is skewed and we are seeing the bottom end, like the edge of the instrument. Not a huge portion of it, but we are seeing some of it, and I think that'll combat that. All right, so now all we have to do is this segment here, we select this segment and we say split, and then for these cutting objects, we select that curve and we hit enter, and now it just broke this up for us. Okay, so now let's hide the picture again, and let's take this other stuff. And by the way, if you don't want to delete this yet, you can highlight the stuff. Right here, let's join that together and then say hide. And see, it's still there, it's just not visible. Now we're going to take this whole thing and join, and then hold shift and select that curve and join. And we have two curves joined into one closed curve. So this is one curve again. Now, I'll ask you, doesn't that look like your instrument? It does to me. It does to me. And when we turn the photo on, you know, this edge right here, we can tell by this, we know it's skewed. But we can go back here and go to the materials. And if we turn this turn the transparent off, we have a symmetrical body. And I think that this will be a lot closer to your instrument than if we trace to this outline. Because I think in this outline right here, I think in that outline we're seeing the bottom edge of the instrument. That's what I think we're seeing, like the bottom edge and corner of the instrument. Now, what we can do here, we know we're seeing a shadow here, but we also know that the shadow is not extending the entire bottom radius of this lower wing. So what we do is with these curves, explode them if you haven't already. We're going to take these two and we're going to join those back together. And this curve, we go to curve, extend curve, and extend curve. And now we're going to extend this curve on out. Just keep extending it out. We're gonna split it off, so don't worry about how long it is. Okay. All right. Now we're done with that. Now we're going to take this. It's really two radii, and we're going to move these and select this point so that we stay on that curve. Okay. And now we are at least at a distance to where we should see the shadow. And what we'll do is we'll look at the picture materials and play around with this transparency. But to be honest with you, I really don't think you're going to be able to get rid of the shadow. You're just not going to be able to do it. But what we can do is we can leave this at 10% or less, and we can at least see a little bit of where the shadow is. And I think that we took a lot of it out just then. So now we just click on this curve and we're going to go over here and touch it. And I believe that right now that is as close as we will be able to get with the image that we have. That is as close as we're going to be able to get to an accurate image. So now let's leave this on and let's go back to the layer. Let's turn this off, or layer management. Let's turn that off. And now all we have to do is take this segment here and we say split, and we choose this curve for the cutting piece. Enter, delete this, and now join, join, and our last piece is up here. And now we have one closed curve. In my opinion, you will not be able to use the photo that we have and get any closer than that. Now that is very close, very close. I mean, if you use this, if you use the curves that we generated here, people are not going to be able to tell the difference between this and the actual Jackson instrument. So I'm going to save this, and anyway, now what we will do is we will end this video. Well, before we end this video, we're going to leave the top view, and then I want to just give you a depiction of this so you can get an idea if it looks like your instrument to you. We'll go to solid, and we're going to say extrude planar curves straight, and we're going to tell it to extrude 45 millimeters. And now if we go over here in the perspective view and shaded, if you look at this image, that looks like your instrument, or to me it looks like the Jackson instrument. And but anyway, that's all that we're going to cover in this segment, and when I come back to the next segment, we will export these as a DXF, and then we will import them into VCarve Pro, and we will make the toolpaths and G-code to carve this template. Till then, peace and God bless.